Good evening, you're watching Markets Today with me, Malik Ridwan, and in today's episode, we will be bringing to you issues pertaining to the passenger service charge that has been suggested by MAVCOM that they would want to implement a standardized rate for the PSC between both KLIA and KLIA2 terminal. And we will be speaking to several industry players, especially from carriers, so AirAsia especially, who has been operating out of KLIA2, who does not agree to this standardization of PSC between both terminals, because we've seen that both terminals, KLIA and KLIA2, do not have the same facilities and services. In fact, last Friday, if I'm not mistaken, at 11:19 p.m., on social media, there were several photos being posted up on social media. In fact, Sani, we ourselves posted a photo that there was some sort of congestion at the immigration arrival hall at KLIA2, and yet Malaysia Airports replied to our Sani's tweet that there were no problems at the immigration arrivals hall with the AutoGate system, and they are constantly monitoring the situation. But clearly, through pictures that we've received, that there is something going on at KLIA2. And this we do not really see normally happening at KLIA with any problems and services at KLIA, because we all know that KLIA is a premium terminal with top-notch facilities, and KLIA2 does not, or I would say is not at par as KLIA terminal. And yet PSC charges would be standardized between both terminals, and this has been issue being raised by carriers, especially, that they would not want to burden more on the passengers, as they've been paying airport tax, they've been paying the airline fare and things like that. Now, we're going to go over to Ibrahim Sani, our lead business editor, who was recently at KLIA on a flight to Japan, and over to Ibrahim on what he has to say on pertaining to this issue.
Welcome to the show. Thanks for joining me. I am at KLIA, and the reason is because this airport has been receiving numerous press conferences and news reports over the past few days. Late last week, the Prime Minister Najib Tun Razak has launched the DFTZ, or the Digital Free Trade Zone, with the #1 celebrity of e-commerce, which is Jack Ma, that will herald in unprecedented traffic in terms of goods and services for this airport and for this area. The KLIA will see the Digital Free Trade Zone pushing through the e-commerce business for ASEAN region. 600 million population will enjoy it. But all is not rosy with KLIA, particularly between KLIA1 and KLIA2. MAVCOM earlier last week said that passenger service charges should be equalized between passengers travelling KLIA1 and KLIA2. In response, the CEO of Malaysia AirAsia, which is Irene Omar, has lashed out to the statement given by MAVCOM. She says that the equalization of the PSC charges, or the passenger service charges, should not be the same between KLIA1 and KLIA2. She says that the reason why passengers from KLIA2 should be lower charge than KLIA1 is because of three things. Number one, passengers at KLIA2 receive lesser in terms of quality of amenities and maintenance fees and maintenance services and charges. And because of this, they should pay lesser than KLIA1. The second reason is that MAVCOM issued a statement saying that IATA supports the equalization of charges. But Irene Omar says, who is IATA in this story? They are not an independent body. She wants an independent body to review the equalization of the passenger charges. So the argument that MAVCOM made, particularly when it comes to equalizing passenger charges between KLIA1 and KLIA2 and using IATA's name to justify this move, is unsubstantiated, according to the CEO of Irene Omar. And the third reason, she says that why they shouldn't be equalized, or why they shouldn't pay the same, is because they do see the need for these passenger charges to be paid fully by the passengers, not by the taxpayers. MAVCOM alleged that the passengers at KLIA2 is being subsidized by the taxpayers. And Irene Omar rubbished these claims, saying that no taxpayer is paying the PSC charges. It's basically mostly on the passengers themselves paying for the fee. So I'm Ibrahim Sani, signing off.
Now, when we come back, we're going to be bringing to you a soundbite from Datuk Kamarudin Meranun, the Executive Chairman of AirAsia and Group CEO of AirAsia X, to listen, to hear what he has to say on this issue. All this and more when we come back on Markets Today. Welcome back to Markets Today. You're still with me, Malik Ridwan. Still pertaining to this issue between KLIA and KLIA2 PSC charges that has been highly debated among the aviation sector. Now, just last week, Irene Omar, the CEO of AirAsia Berhad, has issued a statement saying that KLIA and KLIA2 are two vastly different airport terminals that provide different level of services and facilities to its users, and it is inaccurate to say the services provided between the two airport terminals are comparable, as facilities at KLIA are far more superior as compared to KLIA2. Good example, KLIA has an aerotrain whereby KLIA2 doesn't, and passengers have to walk from the main terminal towards the satellite terminal at KLIA2. Now, it is absolutely untrue to claim that passengers travelling on other airports are subsidizing the operational costs of KLIA2. Therefore, AirAsia seek MAVCOM's transparency on this claim and strongly urge that MAVCOM review feedback from travellers and customers of KLIA2, as well as look into the multiple representations on the visible differences of the facilities and services offered between KLIA and KLIA2. Now, as promised before our break, I'm going to be bringing to you Datuk Meranun, the Executive Chairman of AirAsia and Group CEO of AirAsia X. Now, let's take a look on what Datuk Kamarudin has to say.
I think on numerous occasions we have mentioned about this. I think we have wrote letters, we also sent out some statements in public to say we have a problem with it, because I don't think it's fair to charge the travelling public or the travelling passenger a PSC which is the same between KLIA and KLIA2, because these are two different terminals which offer different services. Yes, they offer a terminal that allows the passenger to fly out. But kalau you tengok the condition, the service of the two terminal, is there's a stark difference. One, you have the train to go to the other side of the terminal. In this case, in KLIA2, you don't have a train. You have to walk, and it's quite a distance. If you're lucky, you can get a buggy. But if you're not, that's a long walk. And between all the gates, you tengok all the gates kan, from one gate to the other gate, there's a big difference in the gates as well. And then bila you turun tu pun, dia ada ramp. And as you come back from the flight, you have to take all this ramp first. It's taxing. Imagine people in a stroller, in a wheelchair, also have a problem to push the wheelchair up the ramp. So can you imagine orang yang walking? It's terrible. Kadang-kadang. So, but it's done. So we live with it. But right now, to charge them the same, do you think it's fair? I think a study needs to be done to check. In fact, we sent in a video showing how long does it take for you to check in and then to be on the plane, whether in KLIA or KLIA2. You can see the difference in timing, because the amount of walk that you need to do, the amount of queuing up you need to do at the custom and immigration. So the services is not the same. Every gate in KLIA has an X-ray machine. That's cost. We don't have in every gate. You have to clear once. So they have to queue, long queue, because you got to share all the services there. So a lot of inconveniences to the passenger. But yet I don't understand where is the merit in charging them the same. And even lately they said about subsidizing. I don't understand in what way is subsidizing. There's a lot more passenger out there, correct or not, paying the thing. And then KLIA, compared to KLIA, in fact they're generating a lot more income from KLIA too. So I don't say about, but this is something that the government have to decide. We can only voice out. It's a decision made by the government. We will respect it, right? But we just say, and we are appealing. That's why we wrote to them. We're appealing that, look, maybe put a little bit more study into this, especially times like this. And people are not suffering, but it's hard, it's challenging in this economy.
Now, we're going to go back on the line with Ibrahim Sani, the lead business editor, who is currently in Japan, in Tokyo, Japan. And now let's go over to Ibrahim on the line. Ibrahim.
Yes, thank you, Male. And now the question always remains on how we can improve on the service for the people. And as you have just heard from the various authority parties from AirAsia and beyond, they argue that the passenger service charge need not be equalized, and the reason is because of the differential services that is rendered to the passengers. And one thing I want to highlight is that the passenger service charge is not taken from the public, it is taken from the passengers. So for any allegations to say that they received money from the taxpayers to subsidize the upkeep and the maintenance of the KLIA2 is outrightly incorrect. Because the taxpayers are not paying for the PSC, the passengers are. Just like many other airports around the world, you would see that the passenger service charges would be borne by the passengers. So it's not uncommon for people to actually impose authorities to impose differential passenger service charges to passengers flying to different airports. The question now is, if you want to equalize the charges, then you have to provide a very, very strong justification on why you want to do that. And one of the best things that you can argue is that the services and the quality has to be the same between these two airports. And as you started off the show, I saw, Male, it was quite detrimental for Malaysia airports to say that everything is A-OK when clearly the pictures and the reports from the passengers say they are not. Clearly things are not okay with the auto gate system. Clearly things are not okay with how they manage the volume of the passengers that embark and disembark from the aircraft and head their way towards the immigration, and also the electric gate. How many times have we gotten ourselves stuck at the immigration gates at KLIA2, and for the authorities, for the Malaysian airports to just dismiss the whole notion is actually quite perplexing. And perhaps we want to know more on why they want to argue that everything is A-OK when evidence clearly supports the notion that it wasn't. But for us, the passengers, I think our interest comes to mind first before AirAsia or Malaysia airports. I think as passengers, we demand the best kind of service that can be rendered to us, because we are the paying customers, not AirAsia, not Malaysia airports, but us as travelers and passengers. And if our interests are not met for any form of reason, then we really do have to step in and voice our concerns, because at the end of the day, the paying customers are the passengers, and if the passengers' interests are not being met, then we have a problem there. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Ibrahim, for joining us all the way from Tokyo, Japan. That is all for today's episode for Markets Today. Be sure to tune in to social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, 501 Awani, to send your feedbacks and comments on the show. Be sure to use our hashtag Awani Markets, and also download our application on Google Play Store and App Store. My name is Kamarudin. This is Markets Today, and see you again next time.